Open your freezer and you'll probably find something that's been sitting there for weeks, maybe months. Yet somehow it still looks perfectly fine. A frozen pizza from last month? Still good. Chicken from weeks ago? Still safe. Even leftovers can survive far longer than they ever could in your fridge. So what exactly is going on inside your freezer? Why does freezing food make it last so much longer? Is it actually stopping time? Or just slowing something down? Today we're diving into the science behind why do frozen foods last longer? And once you understand it, you'll never look at your freezer the same way again. Let's get into it, right here, on History of Simple Things. To understand why freezing works, we first need to understand why food spoils in the first place. Fresh food doesn't just go bad randomly. It's actually a combination of three main processes. First, there are microorganisms like bacteria, yeast, and mold that feed on your food. As they grow and multiply, they break it down, causing bad smells, slimy textures, and eventually making it unsafe to eat. Second, there are enzymes, natural chemicals inside the food itself. Even after food is harvested or cooked, these enzymes keep working, slowly breaking down the structure, changing flavor, texture, and color. And third, there are chemical reactions like oxidation. This is what causes things like browning in fruits or rancidity in fats. All of these processes are constantly happening. At room temperature, they happen quickly. In the fridge, they slow down a bit, but in the freezer, something dramatic happens. Freezing doesn't magically preserve food. It simply slows everything down to a crawl. At temperatures around -18 degrees Celsius, 0 degrees Fahrenheit, which is the standard for most home freezers, the activity of bacteria is almost completely halted. They don't die, they just become inactive. Think of it like putting them into a deep sleep. The same goes for enzymes. Their chemical activity slows down so much that the changes they cause in food become nearly unnoticeable over time. Even chemical reactions like oxidation are drastically reduced in the cold, so instead of food spoiling in days, the entire process stretches out over weeks, months, or even longer. Freezing doesn't stop time, it just slows it down so much that it feels like it does. Here's where things get even more interesting. Most foods contain a lot of water, fruits, vegetables, meat, even bread. And water plays a huge role in spoilage. Microorganisms need liquid water to survive and multiply. Enzymes also rely on water to carry out their reactions. When you freeze food, that water turns into ice. And ice isn't very useful for bacteria or enzymes. By turning water into solid ice, freezing essentially removes one of the most important ingredients needed for spoilage. Without accessible liquid water, microbes struggle to function, and chemical reactions slow down even more. It's like taking away the fuel from a fire. Now here's a common misconception. Freezing does not kill bacteria. Many people assume that once food is frozen, it becomes completely sterile. But that's not true. Most bacteria can survive freezing temperatures. They're just inactive. This is why proper handling is still important. If food was contaminated before freezing, those bacteria will still be there when you thaw it. And once the food warms up again, they wake up and continue multiplying as if nothing happened. That's also why thawing food safely, like in the fridge instead of at room temperature, is so important. Freezing pauses the problem. It doesn't erase it. If freezing slows spoilage so much, you might be wondering, why does frozen food still have an expiration date? Technically, frozen food can remain safe to eat for a very long time as long as it stays frozen. But safety isn't the only concern. Quality matters too. Over time, even in the freezer, slow changes still happen. Flavors can fade, textures can become dry or mushy, colors can dull. This is especially noticeable with something called freezer burn. Freezer burn happens when air reaches the surface of frozen food, causing moisture to evaporate and leaving behind dry, discolored patches. It's not dangerous, but it definitely affects taste and texture. So those best buy dates are really about quality, not safety. Let's take a closer look at freezer burn, because it's one of the biggest enemies of frozen food. When food is exposed to air inside the freezer, tiny ice crystals on the surface can turn directly into vapor in a process called sublimation. This removes moisture from the food, leaving it dry and sometimes tough. At the same time, oxygen in the air can react with fats in the food, causing off flavors. That's why packaging matters so much. A tightly sealed container or vacuum-sealed bag helps keep air out, preserving both moisture and flavor. So while freezing slows spoilage, how you store your food determines how well it holds up over time. Freezing might feel like an everyday convenience now, but it's actually one of the most important food preservation methods ever developed. Before freezing, people relied on salting, drying, or pickling to keep food from spoiling. These methods worked, but they often changed the taste and texture significantly. Freezing, on the other hand, preserves food much closer to its original state. It allows us to store seasonal foods year-round, reduce waste, and keep meals ready whenever we need them. In a way, your freezer is like a pause button for food. So, the next time you toss something into your freezer, think about what's really happening. You're not just storing food. You're slowing down biology, chemistry, and time itself. It's a simple process, but behind that cold air is a powerful scientific trick that keeps your food safe, fresh, and ready when you need it. Thank you for watching. If you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you an acknowledgement for your contribution. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the history of simple things. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more stories woven through the smallest details.